Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kenda Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have Kathy, a left behind and forward moving spouse with a bomb drop of March 2021 and a date of marriage of 2005. She has a high energy player who is a boomerang. Kathy says, I found out my husband was having an affair in March of 2021. He moved out in July of 2021 and into a hotel. We both knew there was an alienator, but he claimed he didn't know what he wanted. The alienator almost immediately started spending all her time at the hotel. At first, I heard from him a lot. He'd stop by. We talked. We texted. But the alienator started threatening, and I stopped contacting him. He still reached out to me. He came over to get mail and such, though contact started getting less and less. In June of 2022, I found out he had moved out of the hotel and into the alienator's apartment. I confronted him and he freaked out. He said he's filing for divorce, though he said that a lot. He's 56, she's 33. Since then, I haven't heard from him at all, except for a few texts. It's been almost 3 months. Is this part of the process? Maybe some self-reflection? I don't know what to think since he had been fairly regular with contact prior to this. Okay, first, the dynamics changed. So we don't know why he's not regular with contact now. We know that on his own, he is a regular contactor, and so you're correct that he's a boomerang. But now he's moved in with her. She already showed herself to be controlling because she started threatening you, which is not normal for an alienator. It's not abnormal. I see it. I see it of more narcissistic alienators or of an alienator who would show borderline tendencies, who is feeling very threatened, and really doing it to show her that she's possessive. She possesses him, not you. So I don't usually see them. They usually run scared from the alienator, which is why I think more narcissism, but a scared borderline is very protective as well. The dynamics have changed, though. He's moved in with her. And what you're probably seeing, we don't know. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But what you are probably seeing is that she's controlling him. He is not able to call you. And it doesn't mean that he's trapped behind cell walls. It means that he is being controlled, and he might be on an electronic leash. She might check it. He might just simply be abiding without trying to break through these controls because he doesn't need to yet. She's told him, you can't do these things. There's probably a lot of conflict going on, and he is doing whatever he can to ease that conflict. And when he does ease it, there's relief. He doesn't want to dip his toe out of line because he's just basking in the relief. It feels so much better when I don't contact my wife. But of course, it's because of my girlfriend. But I'm not going to contact my wife because it upsets my girlfriend. And he might not voice it that way. He might just be relieved that she is not inciting the conflict due to it. And so he doesn't contact you. Or it's deliberate on his part to avoid contacting you to do that. But that is a very good possibility of what's going on. As for self-reflection, no. I am highly doubtful that it's been not quite 18 months. And so he's not at a point where I would expect that. There could be tiny bits of it. But his suddenly changing the frequency of contact with you does not indicate self-reflection anyway. And especially not given the circumstances that you've just described. So what I would do first is contact him. Not regularly, not frequently, but occasionally, so that you maintain some open form of communication on your end. Hi, I was just thinking about you. I hadn't heard from you in a while. Wanted to check and see if you're okay. You might hear nothing. You might hear nothing because you weren't going to hear anything. You might hear nothing because she intercepted it. Ooh, she might take it out on him and he might not know why. She might contact you threatening. She might do nothing because I got it. She'll never know he didn't get this, or she'll think he's just not paying attention to her. He might read it and see it, and she might discover it, and he could get in trouble. All sorts of things could happen as to why he may not then respond back, and then he might. Your job is just to let him know that you're thinking of him and you're there. You want it to be SMART contact. So if you haven't already, look up Marriage Helpers, SMART contact. It's an acronym. And follow their recommendations for SMART contact. One of the really important pieces of it is that it's neutral. We don't use pressure, and neutral. You don't want to contact so often that it becomes annoying or it looks like you're desperate. But if you're standing for your marriage, how do you ever reconcile if you have no contact whatsoever? So I'm not a proponent of saying just go completely no contact for the next 2 years and don't contact them all for 2 whole years, that sort of thing. But I'll tell you, you can do it for 3 months, no contact. The frequency could be every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks or every 6 weeks. It depends on the situation. With yours having been a regular contactor prior to this, you probably don't have to spread it out too much. If this were a vanisher and we were reinitiating contact, I might say, well, maybe once this year right now at this, and then maybe 6 months later if there's a certain holiday or something that comes up, especially if something comes up naturally. You could probably start out trying more frequently, but be prepared and understand that the alienator is very likely controlling this and she may intercept. And that will have fallout on all sides. So she is probably doing a lot of emotional blackmailing. I can't tell you that for sure, but I want you to read up on emotional blackmail. There's a book by Susan Forward called Emotional Blackmail. It's a very good book. Read that, and you can read any other articles, but the book really is a good book. What you're experiencing is normal. Yes, this is part of the process. It doesn't happen to all of them. My husband just found ways. He snuck out of the house to a payphone. I don't even know if we have those anymore. He would sneak out of a house to a payphone to call me. He kept trying to erase his history or something in his phone, and she had ways of looking at it and finding it. But he would do whatever he could. He knew that he could see me if I went shopping because he worked at Costco. He knew how to find me, and he did. And he would go out of his way to do it. That doesn't mean I always encouraged it, but I knew that he was motivated for that. So if you can maintain some small level of contact, it might, I'm not guaranteeing, it depends on the person, be able to sustain that motivation for him to continue to pine for you in contact. Because I don't like no contact, but I don't think that's what he's doing. I think that there's some level of control going on in this relationship, especially since she threatened you and he's now moved in with her. Okay. Well, I hope this was helpful. I'll see everybody in the next question.